Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something that might surprise you. There are some phrases we hear all the time, quotes that people confidently attribute to Jesus. But here's the thing, he never actually said them. Today we're looking at 3 of the most common misquotes, and more importantly, what Jesus actually said instead. Because the truth, it's way better than the misconception. Let's jump in. First up, this is probably the most famous Jesus quote that Jesus never said. You've heard it, right? God helps those who help themselves. It sounds biblical. It sounds inspiring. And it's completely absent from Scripture. The phrase actually comes from ancient Greek storyteller Aesop, and it was popularized much later by Benjamin Franklin in his Poor Richard's Almanac. It reflects a self-reliance philosophy that's honestly more American dream than gospel truth. So what did Jesus actually say? Well, he taught the exact opposite. In the Sermon on the Mount, in Matthew 5:3, he says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." What does that mean? He's saying, blessed are those who recognize they can't help themselves. Blessed are the spiritually bankrupt, the ones who know they need God desperately. Think about it. Throughout the Gospels, who does Jesus reach out to? It's the helpless. It's the paralyzed man who couldn't get himself to the healing pool. The woman caught in adultery with absolutely no defense. The blind beggar who could do nothing but cry out for mercy. The beautiful truth is this: God doesn't help those who help themselves. God helps the helpless. God shows up for those who finally admit they can't do it alone. That, my friends, is grace. And grace is the entire point of the story. Alright, moving on to number 2. Here's another one that sounds so biblical you'd swear it's tucked away in Leviticus somewhere. Cleanliness is next to godliness. We've all heard it, maybe even said it while cleaning our homes. But the reality is, this phrase comes from a sermon by the preacher John Wesley back in the 1700s. And you can find similar ideas in ancient Hebrew writings outside of the Bible. But Jesus, he never said it. In fact, Jesus directly challenged the religious leaders of his day for their obsession with external cleanliness. In Matthew chapter 15, he lays it out clearly. He says, "It's not what goes into your mouth that defiles you. You are defiled by the words that come out of your mouth." He then goes on to explain, "But the words you speak come from the heart, that's what defiles you. For from the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, lying, and slander. These are what defile you. Eating with unwashed hands will never defile you." You see, Jesus cares about the condition of your heart, not the condition of your hands. He's way more concerned with our internal transformation than our external performance. You can have a spotless house and a filthy heart. You can follow all the external religious rules and still be miles away from God. Jesus came to clean us from the inside out, and that's the only kind of cleanliness that truly matters in the end. And that brings us to our 3rd and final misquote. This one gets said constantly, especially when people are going through tough times. God won't give you more than you can handle. People often think this comes from 1 Corinthians 10:13, but if you look at that verse, it's specifically about temptation, not general suffering or hardship. That verse promises that God will provide a way out when you're tempted. It doesn't say that he'll limit your hardships to what you think your personal capacity is. Jesus was actually brutally honest about suffering. He never sugarcoated it. In John 16:33, he looks at his disciples and tells them point blank, Here on earth you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart, because I have overcome the world. Notice he doesn't say, you'll only face what you can handle. He says, you will face trials, plural. It's a guarantee, but I've already won. Even look at Jesus' own experience. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he was so overwhelmed, he was sweating drops of blood. He prayed, Father, if it's possible, let this cup pass from me. Jesus himself faced more than he wanted to handle on his own. So here's the real, powerful promise. God will absolutely give you more than you can handle. So you'll learn to depend on him. The Apostle Paul writes about this in 2 Corinthians. He says, we were crushed and overwhelmed beyond our ability to endure, and we thought we would never live through it. In fact, we expected to die. But as a result, we stopped relying on ourselves and learned to rely only on God. God doesn't promise to keep you comfortable. He promises to be with you. And his grace is sufficient, especially when your strength isn't. So let's bring it all together. 3 things Jesus never said. First, God helps those who help themselves. The truth is, God helps the helpless. Second, cleanliness is next to godliness. The truth is, Jesus cares about the transformation of your heart. And third, God won't give you more than you can handle. The truth is, he often gives us more, so we'll learn to depend on him. Friends, words matter. And what Jesus actually said is so much better than these well-meaning misquotes. The real gospel isn't about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, or looking good on the outside, or staying inside your comfort zone. The real gospel is about a God who meets us in our weakness, transforms us from the inside out, and walks with us through trials that are way bigger than we are. So here's my challenge for you this week. Go back to what Jesus actually said. Pick up Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. Let his real words shape your understanding of who he is and how he works. If this video encouraged you, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our future videos. And I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Are there any other common Jesus quotes you've heard that turned out not to be in the Bible? Until next time, friends, stay rooted in truth.